A crack in a church floor tells the tale of Malta as one of the most bombed places on Earth, not in the least by German warplanes like the Junkers 88, a wreck we're exploring in today's episode on the DiveSAGA channel. The sun is rising over Malta, a small but history-filled island nation in the Mediterranean. In the last episode on the DiveSAGA channel, we dove into the wreck of the SS Polynesian, a World War I troop transporter sunk by a German torpedo. But it wasn't until World War II that Malta really entered the eye of the storm, as it became the staging grounds for the Allied forces' invasion into Sicily. This, of course, attracted a lot of attention of the enemy and turned Malta into one of the most bombed places on the planet. Between 1940 and 1942, over 15,000 tons of explosives were dropped on Malta. This, of course, resulted in a lot of destruction on both sides of the war. Today, we are taking a look at a German casualty, as we are going to dive down to the wreck of a downed Junkers 88 bomber aircraft. There are actually several Junkers 88 airplane wrecks to be found in the seas around Malta. That's no surprise, given that this aircraft type was a workhorse within Nazi Germany's bomber forces. The one we are diving to lies at a depth of 55 meters or 180 feet. If you're interested, you can surf to underwatermalta.org and check out their virtual museum of 3D scans. I'd also like to thank Visit Malta for helping to make this episode a reality. Time to load our dive boat and set course for some 3 kilometers offshore to find the wreck of the Junkers 88. The Junkers 88 bomber lies in 55 meters or 180 feet of water. This is a technical dive, and temperatures at that depth are significantly cooler than at the surface, somewhere between 14 and 15 degrees Celsius, so a dry suit and proper undergarments are advisable. For this dive, I've once again assembled our Malta-based team, with Nadine Bauer, John Borge, Daniele Bertaggia, and, of course, myself. Once again, we're on a mission to collect some footage of this technical wreck that the Malta Tourism Authority can use to promote their underwater history and its conservation. It should be known that special permits from Heritage Malta are required to dive the Junkers 88 wreck. Captain Mark locates the wreck, and a 55-meter-long shot line is thrown into the water to mark the location. Of course, with such depth, the wreck cannot be seen from the surface, so the shot line will guide us there during our descent. We are lucky. Visibility is amazing and the current is mild. Nevertheless, it is key that we stay close to our shot line because airplane wrecks are small and landing in the incorrect spot at 55 meters deep would waste a lot of bottom gas. As the seafloor below us starts to show up, a small signature of an airplane tail reveals itself. This must be it. The broken-off tail section of the Junkers 88 bomber of the German Luftwaffe. This aircraft was produced by Junkers Flugzeug- und Motorwerke, which by the end of the war in 1945 had produced approximately 15,000 such aircraft. The short distance between Malta and Sicily enabled the German aircraft to participate in several air raids a day, with an average of 200 aircraft bombers over the island every single day, the vast majority of which were Junkers 88s. But not all air raids were successful. One such failed mission even resulted in a miracle. This is the Rotunda of Mosta, an impressive neoclassicistic church with one of the largest unsupported domes in the world. On April 9, 1942, a Junkers 88 bomber from the German Luftwaffe dropped a 500-kilogram bomb on the church while some 200 to 300 people were inside. The bomb breached through the ceiling of the rotunda here, where we can still see a missing tile. It then bounced off the wall against this image of Jesus Christ, before landing on the floor in front of this statue of Mary. Instead of killing hundreds of people and destroying the church, the bomb failed to explode and laid idly on the floor as parishioners fled the church. The impact of the 500-kilogram bomb is still visible on the floor, and there is more. In one of the church's sacristies, an interesting relic is hiding. After the raid, the unexploded bomb was defused by the Royal Engineers and removed, but a replica of the same SC-class bomb can still be seen on display. For those of you planning on visiting, it's also worth knowing that real air raid shelters can still be found underneath the Rotunda of Mosta, a common hiding place for civilians from the wrath of the Junkers 88 bomber. Several meters away from the broken-off tail section, we see a pile of rubble in the distance. This must be the airplane wreck's body. At a depth of 55 meters, 180 feet, long-distance swims on the bottom are to be avoided, but this wreck is broken in half. Jackpot! This pile of rubble, which seems to be attracting a lot of fish, is indeed the main body of the Junkers 88. This particular wreck was discovered in 2009, but it is unclear when exactly it sank. But since the Second World War came to an end in 1945, it is safe to assume that this aircraft has been laying on the bottom of the Mediterranean for at least 80 years. Despite all that time underwater, so much of the mechanical detail of this wreck is still recognizable. In many places, we can even easily make out the individual rivets. Here, we can see the cockpit of the Junkers 88. It may not look like much, but considering the age and the presumably violent way in which this aircraft went down, this amount of detail is impressive. Being able to witness history up close like this never gets old. We are using Trimix 2020 as a bottom gas. That means 20% oxygen and 20% helium. For decompression gases, we are using 50 and 80% nitrox. Nevertheless, our gas supply is finite. The clock is ticking, and the silence surrounding the wreck is deafening. This Junkers 88 is a silent witness to a war that cost the lives of 70 to 85 million people. The deadliest war in human history. As I get ready to start our decompression procedures, I shallow up, and the scale and state of the wreck become even more clear. For having spent over 80 years underwater, this wreck is in decent shape. I could stare at her for hours, but time is a luxury we do not have. As the currents are starting to pick up, we swim towards our shot line and spend about 30 minutes decompressing. While I decompress, I realize once again the fleeting nature of time and the irrelevance of our daily worries. This Junkers 88 is a prime example of one of the 15,000 killing machines designed to deliver death and destruction. All to defend ideas and ideals. Yet after all those efforts and all those lost lives, here we are, 80 years later, to see those same killing machines being long forgotten and being swallowed by the sea.